Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Danielle and I'm the owner of Damn Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo Glitter. Today we are going to be working with materials from the August Flock Box. I am going to be using all 4 glitter colors, 1 of the sheets of patterned vinyl, and the decal, of course. Typically after July, I am about all things fall, and for some reason fall just makes me want to sit outside on my screened-in porch and read a good book. That is pretty much what inspired this theme and these patterns, just the fall colors with the books and the florals. I thought it all came together really nicely, and I thought that this was the perfect transition theme from summer to fall. Everything you see listed here will be covered in today's tutorial, but as always, if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask down below and I will come back and answer them. Don't forget to check out the description where I list all items that you will need to recreate this tumbler, as well as discount codes from my favorite suppliers. So we are going to go ahead and jump into this tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright y'all, so if you did not get a flock box for August, these were the items that were included. You got 1 of these decals. I could not decide which one I liked more. These were the colors and the vinyl. I tried to pick colors that went nicely with this brushstroke pattern. All of these colors are also in the other pattern. This one is Feeling Figgy. It's a very light pink. This is Harvest Punch. This is the chunky big sister to Singing in the Rain. This is Autumn Twilight, which is also the chunky big sister to Bat Sprue, which is one of my favorite colors. And then this really pretty kind of light teal, which is Harvest Bay. So we're going to be using all of these colors. And I decided to go with this pattern for our wrap. I really liked all of the elements that were included in this pattern. So I wanted to kind of create my right angle wrap that included the most elements that it could. So before we start kind of creating our template, I'm going to trim off all of the white edges. And I am going to show you guys how I create this right angle. So we are going to take our tumbler, put it on the very edge, measure the height, and put a dot at the height. Then we're going to wrap the tumbler around and put a dot where it matches the other side. So the first dot was the height of the tumbler, the second dot was the circumference. And then we are going to connect the 2 dots that we drew. So I'm just going to get my ruler and I am just going to draw a straight line, and then we are going to cut this out. That is all you have to do to create your right angle wrap. Now obviously if you want your triangle going the opposite direction, then you would cut your triangle the other way. So before we do our wrap, I'm going to draw a straight line on my tumbler with my Cami Page Boutique cup holder. And we are going to use the hinge method for this as well. So I'm just going to fold back that vinyl. We are going to cut a little bit of that backing. So we're going to use this vinyl like a hinge. And I'm just going to wrap it around to make sure that that right angle is even with the other side. And when you have everything lined up, we're just going to use our little squeegee and smooth everything out. We're just smoothing down the vinyl as we are removing the backing. So now we have our right angle on there. And I was trying to decide how I wanted to apply all of my glitter colors. I really wasn't too sure, but I thought that this kind of right angle wrap was a good kind of geometric shape, I guess. So I decided I was just going to make some more geometric shapes with my striping tape. And I'm just using my glitter glue from Artistry. And the striping tape and everything will be linked down below for you guys. I love this striping tape. It's really easy to use. So I decided that I was just going to do the pink and the maroon color kind of on both edges. And then I am going to ombre the two blues. I really like these two chunky blues. They are very close in color, so you can ombre them together and get a really good gradient. And I am going to do 2 coats for this color. It is very light. Some areas you see were a little bit splotchy, so I just dried this with my heat gun. Obviously, I didn't do a good job of drying it very well because it is coming up in some spots. So we are just doing 2 coats. Now, if I would have base coated this, then I probably would not need to do 2 coats. But that's why I do tutorials. Y'all can see what not to do. So I'm just drying this with my heat gun for a quick second. Then I'm going to brush this glitter off just so it does not get into my maroon paint. And I'm going to use my striping tape and create another little geometric shape. So this one is going to be applied around the top part of that right angle. And I wanted it a little bit thicker. And I'm going to go right back in there with Artistry's glitter glue. And I'm just being really careful not to get it on the vinyl. But again, we are going to go back and pinstripe this. So if you get a little bit on the vinyl, it's really not that big of a deal, because pinstripes can kind of hide a lot of those little imperfections. And we are just going to sprinkle on that glitter. How pretty is this color? I love it so much. So now I am pouring the chunky into my tea strainer, and I am just shaking that tea strainer on this section as well. That way the fine glitter will fall through the tea strainer and fill in any of those gaps that the chunky glitter did not fill in. That just helps to avoid blank space so we don't see that white spray paint between any of those chunky glitter flakes. So now I was still trying to decide what exactly I wanted to do with these blues. I couldn't decide if I wanted to section them off or what I really wanted to do with it, but I did eventually just kind of decide to ombre them together just because I thought they would look really good ombre'd together. So I'm just grabbing my glitter glue again, and I'm just going to cover this whole area with glitter glue. And then I'm going to kind of ombre these at an angle and not just straight up and down. So I'm just taking my first color and kind of filling it in that triangle, and then I'm just letting some of these pieces fall down the cup. And then I'm doing the same thing on the opposite side. And then I'm just kind of mixing these colors that I have, and we're just going to sprinkle those in the center. So it's a very gradual ombre, but I love it. I want to do this to a whole cup just because I love these colors so much. And then again, I am taking that chunky and I'm just using my tea strainer so that the fine pieces fall through it, just to fill in any gaps. And then I'm also kind of flattening down any pieces that I see sticking up. Now I will let this dry completely. I will seal it with Rust-Oleum 2 times or a clear liquid sealer if that's what you want to do. Then I'm going to apply 2 coats of Artistry's Fast Set, and then we are going to pinstripe. So here is our tumbler. After 2 coats of epoxy, I went ahead and used my Cami Page Boutique edging tool to create that stainless rim. I usually show this in all of my tutorials, but I forgot to film it this time. And now we are just going to go in with our pinstripes and follow all of these lines. I do have a pinstriping file on thedrunkflamingo.com. It has all of my most popular sizes, which is 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. When I cut out my pinstripes, I like to do a 12 by 12 sheet at a time. That way I have lots of pinstripes to choose from. It also gives me good layering options. So I'm just kind of piecing this together. I know that I will have to trim some of the top to get those pinstripes to fit together instead of overlap each other. And I opted for this chrome gold because I thought it went really well with the plum color of the vinyl and also the gold accents that were in the vinyl as well. So I'm just trimming this top vinyl right now. And I am trimming one of these pinstripes at an angle so that it's not overlapping. Sometimes with chrome vinyl, even after you epoxy, you will still be able to see a wrinkle if it's overlapping something. So I like to try to get it to lay flat if I can. So here I am trimming it. I was not happy with the first cut that I did. I think that I need a new blade in my... And I just wanted to make sure that everything was laying as flat as it could. And then I decided just to run some really tiny pinstripes through the pink and the maroon. I don't do a whole lot of geometric tumblers. That's typically not my forte, but I do really like how this one was turning out. And with pinstripes, I will seal the ends of these pinstripes with UV resin. I show that in a lot of my videos. I did not film it for this particular tutorial though. I do have them in several other tutorials if you guys want to see exactly how I seal them with UV resin. But basically, I just put a small little drop of UV resin on the ends of my pinstripes and then cure it with a UV light. I think that the UV light works a lot better than a liquid sealer, and it just helps to keep those edges down so they don't lift under epoxy. And I was really just having fun with these pinstripes, just kind of placing them wherever I wanted them. And I cut this pinstripe before I applied it because I knew it needed to be in a skinny little point, so I just cut it best I could. And I'm just using my tweezers to kind of get it into place and then trim it with my blade. So I'm pretty happy with how these pinstripes look. I'm just shifting some of them around to help them match up a little better. If you are using chrome vinyl, you do have to be very careful. And this little decal, I forgot to weed the handle. If I forgot to weed yours, I'm sorry. So I'm just peeling this off and I'm just going to apply it right in the center of this little section and smooth it down. I like to smooth down the center and then smooth down each side. And then I will put 2 more coats of epoxy on this tumbler and then it will be complete. So this was a fairly simple tutorial, but I like to show you guys some simple tutorials, some a little bit more advanced, just because I know we're all at different levels. And even though this was pretty simple, I really like how it turned out. It's pretty different than the stuff that I usually do. I'm not really a huge geometric person, but I really like how this turned out. If you guys purchased the flock box for August or give this tumbler tutorial a go, please post in the Drunk Flamingo glitter group or my Damn Fancy Creations tutorial group, because I love to see what you guys come up with and what sorts of things inspires y'all. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my Damn Fancy Tribe, my Damn Fancy Creations tutorial group, or the Drunk Flamingo glitter group. All are linked in the description. Thanks for watching.